She turned the world against me. You ever have one of those moments that seems too perfect to be real? That was my first kiss with Mia. We were both 19, working part-time at the same bookstore near campus. She was the kind of girl who wore oversized sweaters and mismatched socks and somehow made it look intentional. Her laugh had this way of sneaking up on you, making everything else feel quieter. I thought she was magic. I was the shy one, the guy in the corner, sketching in his journal during lunch breaks. But Mia noticed me, really noticed me. She'd walk over and ask about the weird symbols I'd draw, or steal my apple slices and say they tasted better when stolen. She'd wink and say, "Mia, teasing, you have sad eyes. Like you've been waiting for something." I didn't know what I was waiting for. Until her. We started dating fast, intensely. Late-night phone calls that bled into sunrise. Sneaking out of our shifts to nap together on the rooftop. Little post-its left in my sketchbook. "You're worth more than you believe." She felt like a secret I didn't deserve to keep. But then she introduced me to them. Her friends. Jax, Elena, Marco, Kinsey, the cool crowd of our arts college. The ones who threw rooftop parties, performed in spoken word slams, walked into rooms like they owned time itself. At first, I felt like a tag-along. Mia made it easier. Mia, whispering in my ear at parties. "You belong here. You just don't see it yet." I wanted to believe that. So I tried harder. Hung around their rehearsals, filmed their artsy monologues, let Jax borrow my gear, even sketched album art for Elena's band all for free, because they were her people, and I wanted to be enough. It started small. Marco would call me Mia's charity project at parties. Kinsey once made a comment like, "Is he always this quiet? Or just when he's in rooms he can't afford to be in?" I laughed it off. I told myself they were just edgy, that I was overthinking it, that Mia would tell them if it was too far. But she never did. Instead, she'd smile apologetically and say, "Mia, they don't mean anything by it. They just don't know you yet." But they did. They knew exactly what they were doing. The turning point came during the night of the film. I was a film major. Quiet. Obsessed with storytelling. I'd spent 6 months pouring my soul into the short film about grief and masculinity in silence. Shot it alone. Edited it during nights when Mia slept on my chest. When our college announced a short film festival, I submitted it, not thinking much. Mia was so excited. She rallied the group to come, made a whole thing of it. Said, "Mia," hugging me, "they'll finally see what I see in you." I believed her. The screening night came. Packed auditorium. My name on the program. Heart in my throat. My film played last. And as the final shot faded to black, the room was silent. For a second, I thought, maybe they were moved. Then I heard it. Laughter. Starting from the back row. Loud, careless, mocking laughter. I turned and saw Jax and Marco practically wheezing. Elena had her hand over her mouth. Kinsey was texting someone, smirking. And Mia? She didn't say a word. She just stared at the screen. Blank. Cold. When the lights came up, no one clapped for mine. People shuffled. Whispered. Looked at me like I'd done something embarrassing. I turned to Mia, my voice shaking. "Me, did you know they were going to do that?" Mia, flatly, "They didn't get it. That's not their fault." Me, "You promised they'd see me. You told me." Mia, interrupting, "Maybe you're not as deep as you think you are." It hit like a knife. No, like all the knives I thought I'd hidden in my art. That night, I walked home alone. No messages. No apology. Nothing. Until the next morning, when I woke up to a video posted on Jax's story. My film, overlaid with fart noises. Zoom-ins on my face during my speech. Hashtag Oscars 2024. And Mia, tagged in it. Reacting with a laughing emoji. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just her friends being edgy. This was a setup. From the start, I didn't go outside for 3 days after that. I didn't answer texts. I didn't eat right. Just sat there, in my freezing little apartment, watching that video over and over like if I played it enough, it would hurt less. But it never did. Every view just made the shame heavier. Like layers of paint covering my skin until I couldn't even feel myself anymore. I got messages from classmates. Some pretending like they didn't see the video. Some sending half-assed condolences. Don't take it personally. Jax is always like that. It was kind of funny though, no lie. Funny? That was my soul up there. My pain. My mother's death. My fucking grief. And Mia? Silence. Not one word. Not one text. Just occasional stories of her at parties, dancing, smiling. Like nothing had happened. I finally cracked on the fourth day. I walked across campus in the rain with my hoodie pulled over my head, straight to her dorm. I didn't knock. I had a key. Worst decision of my life. She was inside, sitting cross-legged on the bed, laughing, holding a vape in one hand. And Jax was next to her. Shoes off, shirt halfway open, their knees touching. For a second, I thought I was hallucinating. But she didn't even look surprised. She just blinked and said, "Mia, you should have knocked." Me, voice trembling, "What the fuck is this?" Jax chuckled. Jax, mocking, "What's up, Spielberg? Came to film a sequel?" Mia didn't flinch. Mia, shrugging, "You've been acting like a ghost for days. What did you expect?" Me, an apology. Some respect. Something other than this. "Mia, you embarrassed me. In front of my friends. You acted like you were this tortured genius, and then served up the cringiest student film of the year." Me, "That film was about my mom. She died." Mia. She rolled her eyes. Mia, "And? Everyone's lost someone. That doesn't make you deep." Jax laughed again and said, "Jax, you should have added a car chase. Maybe then people wouldn't have walked out." He was joking. But Mia, she wasn't laughing anymore. She was smiling, like something inside her was enjoying every second of this. I left the key on her desk and walked out. I didn't say goodbye, didn't yell, didn't cry. I just walked until my legs gave out under a bridge on the edge of campus. That's where I sat, soaked, as the sky cracked open. The real unraveling happened in the days that followed. Turns out Jax and Mia had been on and off for years. People knew. Professors knew. Her friends joked about it constantly behind my back. All those study nights she told me about, Jax was there. All those times she said she needed space to find herself, Jax was in her bed. And the worst part? People knew. And no one said a word. Because I wasn't one of them. I was just the guy Mia picked up, painted with fake love, and discarded when the mask slipped. My DMs were flooded. Not with support, but more humiliation. Someone made a meme out of my film. It went viral on TikTok in our college bubble. Elena even used a still of me crying in the credits as her band's new single cover. Title? Tears of a Tryhard. And who was the one who gave them the footage? Mia. The final betrayal came when I confronted her one last time. I found her alone at the campus cafe. She looked up from her laptop like I was just another errand. Me. Low voice. "Why'd you do it?" She didn't even hesitate. Mia. "Because I could." Me. "You loved me. Or at least pretended to." Mia. "You were easy. You needed me to believe you were special. I gave you that. So what if I took it back?" Me. "You made me believe I belonged." Mia, smirking, "You did. As long as you stayed in the role I gave you." That's when I realized I was never her boyfriend. I was her project, her mascot, her puppet. And when I started thinking for myself, when I dared to be more than the quiet artist clinging to her world, she cut my strings. That night, I burned every sketch I ever drew of her. Even the good ones. Especially the good ones. Because she didn't deserve to be remembered as beautiful. There's a strange kind of silence that follows betrayal. Not the silence of peace or healing. It's the silence of emptiness. Like walking into a theater after the show's over and realizing you were the only one who believed it was real. After that last talk with Mia, I stopped going to class altogether. Not just because of the whispers or the stares, I could have handled that. But because every hallway, every wall, every echo of laughter reminded me I had been played. My professors reached out. The film department chair, Mr. Kellerman, even asked to meet me privately. I thought maybe he'd say something real. Maybe even apologize for letting them humiliate me like that in a public screening. But all he said was, "Mr. Kellerman, art is subjective, Nathan. Maybe next time, aim for something more accessible." Accessible. He looked at my grief and called it unmarketable. I walked out of his office without a word. I started sleeping in the editing lab in the basement. It was dark, quiet, and always empty after midnight. There was a couch in the back no one used. I curled up there like a ghost, headphones in, reliving my mom's voice from old tapes I digitized last year. "You're sensitive, baby. And that's your superpower, not your flaw." God, if only she knew how that superpower got ripped out of me. 2 weeks after the screening, I got a message on Instagram from someone I didn't recognize. At Ellie.Rooks, "Hey, you don't know me, but I'm in Mia's literature seminar. Can I show you something?" I didn't want to respond, but I did. She sent a screenshot. A group chat, titled, "The Auteur and His Tears Sweat Droplets Clapperboard." Names I recognized. People I'd spoken to. Even Elena was in it. They were laughing about my breakdown, joking about my mom, sharing gifts from the film, and making memes about how pathetic I looked. And Mia? She was the admin. There was one message that gutted me more than anything. Mia, honestly, he cried harder than he s, face with tears of joy. I sat there staring at the screen, my fingers trembling over the keyboard. I didn't cry. Not this time. It was something else now. Something colder. A kind of rage that didn't shout, it seethed. I started plotting. Not revenge. I didn't want some petty TikTok call-out or a rant post. I wanted something that would cut the way they cut me. And I still had one thing they didn't. The truth. So I went back to my footage. The original cuts of my film, not the butchered version Mia leaked. But not just that. I dug deeper. Remember those study sessions? I had backup drives, audio logs, voice memos, snippets I'd recorded when brainstorming ideas, sometimes while Mia was talking in the background. Little moments. Things she never thought anyone else would hear. Her bragging about manipulating people. Joking about sleeping with Jax while I was editing her essay. Mocking my stutter from middle school that I'd confessed to her in confidence. I stitched them together. Every last piece. Then I layered in voiceovers, not of me crying, but of me speaking. Clear. Controlled. Devastating. I turned her own words into a narrative. Not slander. Not defamation. Just truth, curated like a documentary. Cold, clinical, surgical. The title? The Character Study of Mia Cain. I uploaded it to a private link. Sent it to no one. But I burned it to a flash drive. Just one. And when the next campus film showcase was announced, the spring one, where students could submit anonymously, I slid the drive into the box outside the media room. No name. No explanation. Just the work. It took 2 weeks. Then, one night, I got a text from Ellie again. Ellie, are you behind this? I asked. What? She sent me a screenshot of the campus film page. Students buzzing in group chats. TikTok reactions starting to go viral. Apparently, the showcase had screened a film that nuked the room. Professors walked out. Students cried. Mia stormed off mid-screening. I smiled for the first time in a month. Later, Ellie sent me the clip someone had recorded on their phone the moment Mia screamed at the staff, accusing them of emotional terrorism. They asked her if it was true, if the words in the video were hers. She didn't deny it. She couldn't, because they were. But this wasn't a victory. Not really. What I felt wasn't triumph. It wasn't justice. It was silence. That same silence from before, only deeper, quieter. Because now there was nothing left. She was exposed. Everyone knew what she was. But the damage had already been done. She got to live while I had to rebuild. I left campus the next week. Didn't say goodbye to anyone. Just packed my bags, deleted every trace of her from my drives, and boarded a train going nowhere in particular. But before I left, I uploaded the video to Vimeo. Unlisted. Private. Only one person has the link. Me. Because someday, if I ever forget why I stopped trusting people so easily, if I ever wonder why it takes me hours to open up again, I'll watch it and remember who Mia Cain really was. Not a muse. Not a lover. Not a tragedy. Just a monster wearing a pretty face and a borrowed soul. I thought leaving would be the end of her. The town faded behind the train windows like a bad dream you can't quite wake up from. My phone buzzed nonstop for the first few hours. Classmates, professors, even Elena messaged me once. I didn't reply. I watched the battery die and didn't bother to charge it again. Silence had become my armor. The only voice I could stand was the rumble of the train. I ended up in a small city by the coast. Found a cheap room above a bookstore run by a man who didn't ask questions. He handed me the keys, nodded once, and left me alone. Perfect. The walls were thin. The bed creaked. There was a leak near the window. But for the first time in months, there were no whispers. No eyes watching. No masks to interpret. I could breathe. But that didn't mean I was okay. Most mornings I didn't get out of bed. Not because I was tired, more like I didn't see the point. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her smirk. Every time I dreamed, it was that night again, the screening, the laughter, her words echoing over applause that felt like knives. The worst part? Part of me still missed her. Not the real her. Not the girl who exposed me and mocked my grief and manipulated me until I broke. But the version I thought she was. The version I built in my head. The gentle smile in the library. The girl who brought me soup when I was sick. The one who ran her fingers through my hair and said, You don't have to be strong with me. What a lie. But God, it felt real when she said it. One night, I was walking along the boardwalk just past midnight. It was cold. The kind of cold that made your bones ache. I found a bench and just sat there, staring at the ocean. The waves reminded me of film static, endless, shifting, always hiding something underneath. That's when I heard footsteps. Slow, careful, hesitant. I didn't turn until I heard her voice. Mia, I thought I might find you here. For a second, I thought I was hallucinating. But no, there she was. Mia, in a beige coat, her hair up, makeup smudged like she'd been crying. I stood up without a word, ready to leave. But she reached out, gently touching my arm. I flinched like she'd burned me. Mia, please, just let me say something. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. Me, you want me to listen to you? After everything? She didn't speak. Just stood there in the dark, looking smaller. Not like the girl who had the whole campus eating out of her hand. Not like the goddess in the floral dress who ripped my heart out. Just a person. A very broken one. Mia, I didn't think you'd make that video public. Me, I didn't. They did. She swallowed hard. Mia, they kicked me out of the honors program. Elena won't talk to me. I lost my internship. I know I deserve it. But I cut her off. Me, no, you don't know. You don't even begin to know what you did to me. Mia, I do. That's why I'm here. I can't sleep. I keep seeing your face. I hear your mom's voice from your film and Me, stop. I stepped back. Me, you don't get to cry in front of me. Not after you laughed while I broke. She was shaking now. Tears spilling over. Her hands clutched together like she was trying to hold herself in. Mia, I wasn't trying to hurt you like that. I swear. It started as a joke. They thought your grief was performative. And I didn't stop them. I didn't defend you. I let them run with it because I didn't want to lose them. And then it spiraled. The group chat. The memes. The screening. I didn't know how to stop it. Me, you didn't want to stop it. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just told the truth. Me, you love the power. The attention. You love being adored. You used my pain as your stepping stone, and when I started drowning, you held my head under. So don't stand there and act like a victim now. She looked gutted, like something inside her had shattered and couldn't be glued back together. Good. But then she did something I didn't expect. She dropped to her knees. Right there, on the wet boardwalk. Mia, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know who I am anymore. I thought I was this person who understood pain, but I just created it. I hurt you. I ruined everything. I ruined you. And I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed to say it. Out loud. Before I lost my mind. I stared down at her. So small now. So weak. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. I didn't hate her. I wanted to. But I didn't. What I felt was worse. Indifference. Me. You don't get to fall apart and be redeemed. Mia. This isn't one of your stories. She looked up, eyes swollen, mouth trembling. Me. You'll wake up tomorrow. You'll find someone else to believe in you. You'll rebuild. But I won't be in that world. I turned and walked away. She didn't follow. Back in my room that night, I charged my phone for the first time in weeks. Messages poured in. But I opened a new note instead. At the top, I typed. Title, When a God Falls. Then I started writing. Not a film. Not revenge. Just truth. My truth. Because that's the one thing Mia Kane could never touch again. It took me 6 months to finish the script. Not because it was complicated, but because every word I wrote scraped a wound that hadn't fully healed. Every scene I replayed, the first night we kissed, the party, the betrayal, her on her knees, felt like digging through broken glass with bare hands. But I kept going. Not for closure. Not even for justice. Just to bleed the poison out. I called the film The Actress. A story about a boy who falls in love with a girl who wears masks so well, even she doesn't know who she is anymore. The boy gives her everything, his time, his truth, his trauma. She gives him a role to play. And when he stops playing, she writes him out of the story. I didn't tell anyone who it was based on. Didn't need to. The film premiered at a small indie festival. Nothing big. Nothing flashy. Just a quiet theater with cheap wine and stiff chairs. I almost didn't show up. But when I did, I stood in the back corner, hidden by shadows. No friends. No press. Just me. And the flickering light of a story that finally belonged to me again. There was a moment, halfway through the film, where the entire room went silent. The part where the boy finds the hidden camera. The part where he realizes everything, the kisses, the affection, even her words, were rehearsed lines. Staged. Fake. You never loved me, the boy whispers. No, the girl says, smiling sadly. But God, you played your part so well. Someone in the audience gasped. Someone else started crying. But I didn't move. I watched myself on screen. Not literally, but it was me. Raw. Unfiltered. Exposed. And still, somehow, standing. After the film ended, people clapped. Not the polite kind. The stunned, shaken kind. The kind of applause that says, you cut me and I needed to bleed. Several people came up to me after, asking if it was real. I just smiled and said, doesn't matter. Because it didn't. What mattered was that it was mine. Not hers. Not theirs. Mine. Weeks later, I got an envelope. No return address. Inside was a single photo. Black and white. Taken from the back of the theater the night of the premiere. In the very last row, alone, head down, was Mia. She had come. She had seen it. She had watched herself burn. There was no note. No apology. Just that image. I stared at it for a long time. And then, without ceremony, I lit it on fire and dropped it in the sink. Let the ashes wash away. I still dream about her sometimes. Not in the way I used to. Now, she's just a shadow passing by a window I no longer look through. The memory of a performance I once believed in. But I know better now. She was never the love of my life. She was the lesson. The pain that taught me the shape of my own spine. The storm that made me build stronger walls and learn which doors never deserve to be opened again. I'm not healed. Maybe I never will be. But I'm real. And in this world of masks and mirrors, that's more than enough.